Howdy, this is PhantomStrider. You ever had one of those movies you think is overrated, pretentious, or just plain bad? Well, this is my list of those movies for me, those ones that I really don't like, but everyone else in the world seems to just love. They might have been box office hits or got amazing scores on Rotten Tomatoes, it's just, This'll probably be a fairly controversial list, as there's most likely a movie you like on here. So more than ever, keep in mind it's just my personal opinion. And I'm glad there's a movie out there that you can enjoy that I'm not able to. And if there's something that makes these movies special to you or that you like about them, tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to know. So with that said, let's check out the top 5 movies I hate that everyone else likes. Number 5. James Cameron's Avatar. This remains the most high-grossing film of all time. When I first rented this film, I was waiting for something deep and powerful and amazing. I was saying to myself, what could rock so many people in the world? What powerful message in this could affect more people than any other movie in the world? But instead, I was given a mediocre Pocahontas ripoff with some of the most cookie-cutter, dull characters I've ever seen in a blockbuster. The only thing different about the main character from the usual grizzled war veteran stereotype is he's in a wheelchair. But personality-wise, which is what matters, he is so unbelievably predictable in everything he does.
It's nothing like an old school safety brief to put your mind at ease.
And every single human is made out to be the evil white man interested in destroying the forest. This save the forest spiel was boring in the 90s. It's still relevant, but could you mix it up a bit?
Those trees were sacred to the Omatakai in a way you can't imagine.
You know what? You throw a stick in the air around here, it's gonna land on some sacred burn.
Not every white man has to be a jerk. It's incredible. I actually thought Pocahontas and Fern Gully were more subtle in their ecological message than this. Don't get me wrong, I am all for saving the rainforest, but this is so pretentious and one-sided and bludgeoning you over the head with a message. I just hate it. I was bedazzled that this was the highest grossing film of all time. Why? Because the 3D was kind of pretty? Pretty or not, I personally found absolutely no substance behind that prettiness. And the 4th movie I hate that everyone else likes is The Hobbit. This was such a long movie. It just never ended. I've watched this movie in cinemas and politely with friends, but each time it was the most painfully long movie I have ever watched. It wasn't until I watched The Hobbit that I realized how long movies have become. 3 hours! 3 hours is too long for one movie. We used to get intermissions to take pee breaks during our movies, but now you better think twice about getting that supersized soda, because you are going to be sitting there on average for 2 to 3 hours. I get restless sitting down for 30 minutes. I long to stretch my legs by the 2-hour point, but The Hobbit just kept going. While I mostly enjoyed the original Lord of the Rings movies, there was so much filler in The Hobbit that it hurt. Even visually I found it a bore. We've seen the goofy goblins and the clumsy dwarfs so many times in fantasy now that I was yawning all the way through.
What's come out of me oota? It's got arms and legs and everything.
While I liked Bilbo better than Frodo, he actually had a spine, the dwarfs were so undeveloped and two-dimensional that you could have replaced them with cardboard cutouts for the same impact. How could you think you could make a 3-hour epic, a 9-hour epic, out of a short children's storybook? The original Lord of the Rings books were massive, there was so much to talk about. But there's only so much we can learn of Dwarf C's backstory before we're like, just get to the dragon already! But it took us like 6 hours to get to this dragon. While it was still creative like its predecessors, why? Why was The Hobbit so long? And the 3rd movie I hate that everyone else likes is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I'm cheating a bit with this one because I don't hate it. I just don't like it, and I think it's overrated. Whenever I think of this movie, all I remember is hearts being pulled out of bodies, the flaming pits of hell, and disembodied monkey heads.
Chilled monkey brain.
It's probably not a big surprise that I personally don't like this movie. Something like The Raiders of the Lost Ark? That was a fiery, exhilarating epic to me. The Last Crusade? Jones tracks down the grail of freaking immortality with Sean Connery. That's awesome. But in Temple of Doom, I didn't even enjoy it. It was too brutal to enjoy. And to be honest, I know it's an older film, but the racism really stuck out to me. As an 8-year-old, when I first saw this movie, I was creeped out by Indians for years after because, well, I didn't know any better. I thought they were gonna steal my heart or make me drink weird blood or make me eat monkey heads. They paint Indians as basically being these cannibalistic monsters that eat hearts and monkey heads. It wasn't until I started working in pizza shops that I realized how graceful, kind, and polite the Indian culture was. And the sidekicks. Everyone's already said it, but Short and Willie were really annoying.
Wake up! There are 2 dead people down here!
There are gonna be 2 dead people in here!
Her screechy voice and the kid's wailing tone. The Temple of Doom was an exciting, memorable adventure, but it was so packed with unnecessary darkness and brutality that I personally couldn't enjoy it. And the second movie I hate that everyone else likes is Beauty and the Beast 2017. Normally with Disney live-action remakes, I think they're okay. I leave the cinema thinking that was a solid, okay experience. It had a few laughs, a good visual spectacle, some decent acting. It was alright. But Beauty and the Beast 2017 was the exception to me. It felt like a rushed, soulless, befuddled movie with none of the original earnesty and none of the original care. How do you manage to make the body language in a live-action movie worse than the animated movie? That doesn't even make sense! When you see the original Beast's eyes, you can see fear, uncertainty, and gentleness in his eyes. You can see the wheels turning through his eyes. What is he thinking about? You can see tiny details like Belle flicking her hair, because that's what the original voice actor did.
When I saw it the first time, I was like, that's so weird. I mean, she's me, you know?
But this CG monstrosity has no relatability, no interest, and no human warmth.
I told you to join me for dinner!
And I told you no!
And why? Why would you make Emma Watson the star of Beauty and the Beast 2017? Don't get me wrong, I loved the original Harry Potter movies, and Emma played Hermione very well. She was probably the best actor there, because all Hermione had to do was give that stupid WTF raised eyebrow expression she gives in every film. But funnily enough, that stupid, pretentious expression does not work for a character as beautifully crafted as Belle. And at times, it literally hurt to hear her voice when she sung in that stupid auto-tune.
I want adventure in the great white somewhere.
The original voice actor for Belle, Paige O'Hara, is probably the most beautifully balanced, melodic, perfect singer I have ever heard.
I want adventure in the great white somewhere.
I would have been okay with a singer half as talented as Paige O'Hara, but no, we have to get Emma Watson auto-tune sing-talking her way through the whole movie. Maybe if you're replacing Paige O'Hara, the freaking opera singer, you should have some singing experience. Dare I say it, opera experience? While some of the minor characters were okay, this movie felt like it had none of the soul and heart of the original movie. And the #1 movie I hate that everyone else likes is The Matrix. I get that The Matrix introduced relatively new concepts and a new style of movie into popular culture, but as a movie I'm meant to enjoy, I found The Matrix so pretentious and flat. To me anyway, when you break it down, the narrative feels like everyone's ignorant and stupid and can't see the truth, but you, man, we see the real world, man. They're too weak to face the real world. And that's what I don't like most about the movie. It feels like the movie is saying everyone is too stupid or too weak to come out of the Matrix. Except for these people. We're cool, we can face it, we're just that amazing. And that's not fair. You're saying out of all the people in the world, these couple of people are the only ones who are willing to face the world outside the Matrix, are willing to actually better the world. It just feels so teenage angsty at heart to me, which is fine. In fact, I loved this movie as a teenager. I even liked The Matrix Reloaded as a teen. And that neat philosophical concept about choice. I like that stuff. But the older I got, the more dated, pretentious, and silly this movie seemed to me. And the fact that so many people just worship this movie really bothers me for that. Because to me, it feels like a very teenage movie. I mean, still a hell of a lot smarter than Twilight, but it still felt very teen to me. The idea that a reality might exist outside our perceptions? That's really cool, I like that. But pushing that everyone in the world is ignorant and can't know the true nature of the world? That's Ronaldo levels of pretentious.
And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
You've probably noticed ordinary people fear the cold-blooded anchor of the truth.
I've seen critics say that Keanu Reeves plays the white-collar man coming to terms with his own existence really well. I don't think he did. I personally found his performance flat as a pancake. He doesn't so much emote as just stare. Whoa. And I never felt any chemistry between him and Trinity. In fact, I really don't like the character Trinity at all. I don't know what it is about her performance, or lack thereof, but Trinity just felt like this robot to me, with no emotion whatsoever. I guess they're perfect for each other, because they're both equally emotionally flat. Morpheus was probably my favorite actor, but he was the only actor I remember. The others were so forgettable in their performances. I understand though a lot of people don't consider these the most important factors of this movie though. The Matrix is more about how we each interpret the movie, and I'm all for that. As an artistic piece, it's fine. I just don't think it's a blockbuster masterpiece. When the two main actors don't have a single memorable line except, whoa, I just don't get how so many adults hail it as one of the greatest movies of all time. To me, The Matrix was great as a teenager. As an adult though, I personally felt it was pretentious, badly acted, and annoying. I know it's hailed as a classic though by many people, but personally, that's just how I feel about The Matrix. You can probably see from this just how much our personal experiences can affect whether we interpret a movie as good or bad or not. For me, I just happen to have poor experiences with these generally considered good movies. But for you, maybe you have good experiences with these movies. Maybe you saw one of these movies with a good friend. Or maybe it was the first exciting night at the cinemas for you. Maybe something in these movies emotionally connected with you. Do you have a movie that you hate that everyone else likes? If so, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. It tells us more about you as a person. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.